Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 3, Pure Devotional Service, The Change in Heart. Text 1. Shri Sukha Uvacha Evam Etam Nigaditam Pristavanyad Pavan Mama Nirnam Yan Miyamananam Manusheshu Manisinam. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, as you have inquired for me as to the duty of the intelligent man who is on the threshold of death, so I have answered you. Text 2 to 7. Brahma Varchasa Kamastu Yajeta Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Praja Kama Prajapatin Devim Mayam Tu Shri Kamas Tejas Kamo Vibhavasum Vashu Kamo Vasun Rudran Virya Karmo Taviryavan Anadya Kamastva Adittim Svarga Kamodite Sutan Vishwan Devan Raja Kamaha Sadyam Samsadhago Visham Ayush Kamos Chinau Devao Pusti Kama Ilam Yajit Pratista Kama Purusho Rodashilo Kamatarao. Rupabhikamo Gandharvan Shrikamo Psara Urvasim Adipatya Sarvesham Yajita Parmestinninam Yagnam Yajedyasa Kamaha Kosho Kamaha Prachetasam Vidya Kamastu Girisham Dampatyartha Umam Satim.
Translation. One who desires to be absorbed in the impersonal Brahma Jyoti effulgence should worship the master of the Vedas, Lord Brahma or Brihaspati, the learned priest. One who desires powerful sex should worship the heavenly king Indra, and one who desires good progeny should worship the great progenitors called the Prajapatis. One who desires good fortune should worship Durga Devi, the superintendent of the material world. One desiring to be very powerful should worship fire, and one who aspires only after money should worship the Vasus. One should worship the Rudra incarnations of Lord Shiva if he wants to be a great hero. One who wants a large stock of grains should worship Aditi. One who desires to attain the heavenly planets should worship the sons of Aditi. One who desires a worldly kingdom should worship Visvadeva, and one who wants to be popular with the general mass of population should worship the Satya demigod. One who desires a long span of life should worship the demigods known as Asvini Kumaras, and a person desiring a strongly built body should worship the earth. One who desires stability in his post should worship the horizon and the earth combined. One who desires to be beautiful should worship the beautiful residents of the Gandhava planet. And one who desires a good wife should worship the Apsaras and the Urvasi society girls of the heavenly kingdom. One who desires domination over others should worship Lord Brahma, and one who desires a good bank balance should worship the demigod Varuna. If one desires to be a greatly learned man, he should worship Lord Shiva, and if one desires a good marital relation, he should worship the chaste goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva.
Text 8. Dharmartha Uttama Slokam Tantahu Tanvan Pratinyajit Raksha Kamaha Punya Janam Ojas Kamo Marutganan.
One should worship Lord Vishnu or his devotee for spiritual advancement in knowledge. And for protection of heredity and advancements of a dynasty, one should worship the various demigods.
Text 9. Rajya kamo manun devan niritam tva apicharanyajit kamo kamo yajit somam akama purusham param.
One who desires domination over a kingdom or an empire should worship the Manus. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons. And one who desires sense gratification should worship the moon. But one who desires nothing of material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Text 10. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi devrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param.
A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the Personality of Godhead.
Text 11. Etavan eva yajatam iha nishresa sadhaya bhagavate achalo bhavo yad bhagavata sangataha.
All the different kinds of worshippers of multi-demigods can attain the highest perfectional benediction, which is spontaneous attraction unflinchingly fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by association of the pure devotee of the Lord.
Text 11. Jnanam yad apratinivritta gunumi chakram atma prasada utayatra gunushvet sangha kevalya samata patastvata bhakti yoga ko nivrito hari kata suratim na kuryat.
Transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves and whirlpools of the material modes. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from material attachment. And being transcendental, it is approved by authorities. Who could fail to be attracted?
Text 13. Sonaka uvacha iti abhivyartam raja nisamya bhakim anyat prastavan bhuyo veyakshakim rishim kavim.
Shaunaka said, the son of Vyasadeva, Srila Sukadev Goswami, was a highly learned sage and was able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Maharaj Parikshit again require from him after hearing all that he had said?
Text 14. Etachushrushatam vidvan sutano rishi bhashitam katha hari kathodarkaha satam syuh sadasi dhruvam.
O learned Shuta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us because we're all eager to hear. Besides that, topics which result in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees.
Text 15. Save bhagavato raja pandaveyo maharataha bala kridana ke kridan krishna kridam ya adade.
Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of the Pandavas, was from his very childhood a great devotee of the Lord. Even while playing with dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity.
Text 16. Vyasakischa bhagavan vasudeva parayanaha urugaya gunodaraha satam syurhi samagame.
Sukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, was also full in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, son of Vasudeva. So there must have been discussion of Lord Krishna, who was glorified by great philosophers and in the company of great devotees.
Text 17. Ayur harati ve pumsam udyan astam chayan asau tasyarte yat kshano nita uttama shloka vartaya.
Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead.
Text 18. Tarvaha kim na jivanti, vastraha kim na svansti uta, na khadanti na mehanti, kim grame pasavo pare.
Do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen?
Text 19. Savidvarahustra karehe, samstutha purusha pashu, nayat karna patho peto, jatu nama gadagrajaha.
Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, the deliverer from evils.
Text 20. Bile batoru krama vikramam ye nashri nivata karna puta narasya jiva sutati dadurike vasuta napo ko pagyatye urugaya gataha.
The upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, is only a heavy burden, if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead. Wrong one. One who has not listened to the messages about the prowess and marvelous acts of the personality of Godhead, and has not sung or chanted loudly the worthy songs about the Lord, is to be considered to possess ear holes like the holes of a snake, and the tongue like the tongue of a frog.
Can you carry on? Okay. Text 21. Bhara parampata kirita justam apyu utamangamam namingmakundam Savakara kurute saparyam hare lasat kanchana kankanova. And then my husband already read this translation, so I guess we can go on to the next one, or we can repeat it. Maybe you repeat it.
Yeah, I didn't read all of it. The upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, is only a heavenly burden, if not bowed down before the personality of Godhead, who can award mukti, freedom. And the hands, though decorated with glittering bangles, are like those of a dead man, if not engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead, Hari.
Bharayate te nayane naranam lingani vishnu narikishatoye padau nirnam tau druma janma bhajau kshetrani nanu vrajato hareyo.
The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his forms, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of the peacock, and the legs which do not move to the holy places, where the Lord is remembered, is considered to be like tree trunks.
Text 23. Jivanchavo bhagvatranga hirenum najatu martyo bilabeta yastu Shri Vishnu padya manujastu lasyaha Svasan chavo yastu na veda gandham.
The person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. And the person who has never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing.
Text 24. Tadasmasaram hidayam patedam yad grihananir harinamadhiyahe na vikriye tatha yada vikaro netre jalam gatra ruhe suharshaha.
Certainly that heart is steel-framed, which, in spite of one's chanting the holy name of the Lord with concentration, does not change when ecstasy takes place. Tears fill the eyes, and the hairs stand on end.
Text 25. Atha bideye angamanunukulam prabhashase bhagavata paradanaha yadaha vyakshir atratma vidya visharado nripatim sadhu prishtaha.
O Sutta Goswami, your words are pleasing to our minds. Please therefore explain this to us as it was spoken by the great devotee Sukadev Goswami, who is very expert in transcendental knowledge, and who spoke to Maharaj Parikshit upon being asked. Hare Krishna, thank you for the opportunity to recite.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My name is Vamsi Dhari Das. I think we are waiting for Mataji to join. Who facilitates this, no? Rasalila Mataji. So in the meantime, she joins. Are 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 we supposed to read Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto? Sorry, it's the second canto, third chapter, verse 15 and 16. Is this correct?
Yes, Prabhu, that's correct.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Otherwise, I would have been confused. So, till the time Mataji joins, I think we should at least start with the pranam mantras. So, those
You
who
also co-host, so you can share your screen on the Bhagavatam.
okay, just bear with me a moment. Need to open my links up.
Shall I share my screen? Hare Krishna.
Yes, if possible, yes, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
I missed out on some messages. Sorry, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, no worries. So it's Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, third chapter. So chapter after this, text 15. Yeah, text 15. So I'll start with the mantras, pranam mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तनः हृदय अंतस्थो है अभद्राणि विदुनोति श्रुहित सताम वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजितः ज्ञानतीयषु वैराग्यं ज्ञानं च यद् अहेतुकम् यस्यं वै श्रूयमानानं कृष्णे परमपुरुषे Bhaktirutpadyate pumsa shokamoha bhaya apaha. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम Rama Rama Hare Hare. So I'll request humbly to all the people who have joined, if possible, if you can switch on your video so I can at least see you, so I know that I'm not speaking to a screen. It would just help me. So we are reading on the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, third chapter, 15th verse. I'm going to go through the verse and the translation as I usually go through when I read personally. So please bear with me. You can read along with me and or hear with me. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pandavyo Maharatha Bala Krida Nakhe Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade. Saha he, why certainly, Bhagavata, a great devotee of the Lord, Raja Maharaj Parikshit, Pandavyeha, grandson of the Pandavas, Maharataha, a great fighter, Bala, while a child, Krida, Nakehe, with play dolls, Kridan, playing, Krishna, Lord Krishna, Kridam, activities, Yaha, who, Adade, accepted. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of the Pandavas, was from his very childhood a great devotee of the Lord. Even while playing with the dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that even a person who has failed in the proper discharge of yoga practice is given a chance to take birth in the house of a devout Brahmanas, or in the house of rich men like Kshatriya kings or rich merchants. But Maharaj Parikshit was more than that, because he had been a great devotee of the Lord since his previous birth, and as such he took his birth in an imperial family of the Kurus, and especially that of the Pandavas. So from the very beginning of his childhood, he had a chance to know intimately the devotional service of Lord Krishna. In his own family, the Pandavas, all being devotees of the Lord, certainly venerated family deities in the royal palace of worship. Children who appear in such families fortunately generally imitate such worship of the deities, even in the way of childhood play. By grace of Lord Shri Krishna, we had chance of being born in a Vaishnav family, and in our childhood, we imitated the worship of Lord Krishna by imitating our father. Our father encouraged us in all respects to observe all functions such as Rath Yatra and Dole Yatra ceremonies. And he used to spend money liberally for distributing prasad to us children and our friends. Our spiritual master, who also took his birth in a Vaishnav family, got all inspirations from his great Vaishnav father, Thakur Bhakti Vinod. That is the way of all lucky Vaishnav families. The celebrated Mirabai was a staunch devotee of Lord Krishna as the great lifter of Govardhan Hill. The life history of many such devotees is almost the same, because there is always symmetry between the early lives of great devotees of the Lord. According to Jiva Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit must have heard about the childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna at Vrindavan, for he used to imitate the pastimes with his young playmates. According to Sridhar Swami, Maharaj Parikshit used to imitate the worship of the family deity by elderly members. Srila Vishnath Chakravarti also confirms the viewpoint of Jiva Goswami. So, accepting either of them, Maharaj Parikshit was naturally inclined to Lord Krishna from his very childhood. He might have imitated either of the above mentioned activities, and all of them establish his great devotion from his very childhood, a symptom of Mahabhagvat. Such Mahabhagavatas are called Nitya Siddhas, or souls liberated from birth. But there are also others who may not be liberated from birth, but who develop a tendency for devotional service by association, and they are called sadhana siddhas. There is no difference between the two in the ultimate issue. And so the conclusion is that everyone can become a sadhana siddh, a devotee of the Lord, simply by association with the pure devotees. The concrete example is our great spiritual master Sri Narad Muni. In his previous life, he was simply a boy of a maid servant, but through association with great devotees, he became a devotee of the Lord of his own standard, unique in the history of devotional service. So before we go on to the verse 16, which we will also cover today, I would briefly discuss this verse 15. I don't know if you all know the context as to what is the context of this verse. Let me just briefly summarize what is the context of this verse. So, in the previous chapter, which you were all just reading, the Sanskrit beautifully, in that chapter, the conclusion is that by prolonged hearing of Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, you will be able to attain the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. The stress is really given to the prolonged hearing, and to an extent that it's said that in even when someone's listening Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita for prolonged period of time, and they don't have transformation of the heart, cleansing of the heart, then such a devotee is basically a pseudo devotee. They are not practicing the process properly. So I beg your all forgiveness. I am also one of the pseudo devotees. I pray at your all of your lotus feet so that I can practice pure devotional service. But importance is really stressed in the previous chapter about hearing about the glories of the Supreme Lord. So what happens is, in this chapter, the audience, there are these sages. Conversation is going on between Sutta Goswami and Shaunak Rishi. Shaunak Rishi is asking questions, and Sutta Goswami is answering questions, or he is describing Srimad Bhagavatam. And Sutta Goswami, when he is describing Srimad Bhagavatam, he is telling about the characters who were originally discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. Who were the characters originally discussing Srimad Bhagavatam? They were Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. So this conversation is going on. The audience, which is sitting, huge number of audience, along 80,000 rishi munis who were sitting with Shaunak Rishi and hearing very attentively to Sutta Goswami. They have just now in the previous chapter heard the glories of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, the glories of hearing from the pure devotees of the Lord. So basically, audience, they are so much enthused about, they want to hear more. So in this chapter, the beginning itself, you have so far discussed that whatever desires you have, you can go to different demigods. For some desires, you can go to Lord Shiva. If you want to be a great hero, you can go to moon god. If you have sensual pleasures you want, and there are many such desires. But the conclusion of all of this discussion from verses 1 to 13 is that if you want transcendental spiritual knowledge, if you want spiritual advancement, then you have to go to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. You have to worship Supreme Lord Vishnu or his devotees. So transcendental, it's also established in the previous verses that transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Lord, that is the topmost. It's the topmost knowledge. And it can only be attained by devotional service to Supreme Lord Hari or his pure devotees. So these points are established in previous verses, that transcendental knowledge is the topmost, and this knowledge is about the Supreme Lord Hari, and that this knowledge can only be achieved by devotional service, by practical devotional service to Supreme Lord Vishnu or to his pure devotees. And to an extent that not just you will get transcendental knowledge, but a pure devotee can give you spontaneous attraction for the Supreme Lord Hari. And not just spontaneous attraction for some moments, not just spontaneous attraction for few days, not just spontaneous attraction for few months and years, but an unflinching spontaneous attraction to the Supreme Lord. That is the capacity, that is the power of a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. So now, as soon as they have all heard first 12, 13 verses, that that the worship, and previous chapter also they have heard that hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam is so important. So now, in the next few verses, Suta Goswami and Shaunak Rishi, Shaunak Rishi is understanding that Suta Goswami himself is a pure devotee, because he was blessed by Lord Balram himself directly to narrate Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Suta Goswami is a pure devotee, and Suta Goswami is mentioning that actually Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadev Goswami, they both were pure devotees of the Lord too. So if they both are pure devotees, and we have just heard that by listening from pure devotees, you can get spontaneous attraction and you can get unflinching attraction, which means that which will last for eternity. It will not flinch, it will not just get finished in few seconds, few moments, few years, few days, few months. So now in these two verses that we are reading today, Suta Goswami is actually glorifying first Parikshit Maharaj, and then he is glorifying Shukadev Goswami, because just now in the previous verses it was established that how powerful it is, to hear from the pure devotees of the Lord. So Suta Goswami is confirming to the audience, which is Shaunak Rishi and 80,000 Rishi Munis assembled there. He is confirming to the audience that you all are listening this pastime, but do you know this pastime was discussed between these two personalities, and that these two personalities are not ordinary personalities. These two personalities are pure devotees of the Lord, each of them. So in this verse specifically, there is a mention of Parikshit. Can I request you all to mute your backgrounds, please? Someone by the name Kaushi Parmar. Hare Krishna Prabhu, if you can please mute your.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Prabhuji, I muted.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. So in this verse, but it's the discussion is about Parikshit Maharaj, and see, look, it's mentioned that in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked question to Krishna: what will happen if I don't fulfill my devotional service? Will I fall down? What will happen to my devotional service if I become old and I'm not successful in the devotional path? And Krishna answers that if you're not successful in this life, then next birth you will get in the family of a very good brahmanas, in the family of devotees, in the family of rich mercantile class or a Kshatriya class, and you will be well off, and you will get an opportunity to continue practicing your devotional service. So here at the very beginning of the verse, Prabhupada is mentioning that Parikshit Maharaj was not a failed devotee, who had failed to complete his devotional life in his previous. Parikshit Maharaj was already a Mahabhagavat. From his birth, he was Mahabhagavat. And, he was born not in an ordinary family, he was born in the family of Pandavas. And the family of Pandavas is not an ordinary family. It's one of the topmost families, is because Krishna was personally with Pandavas all the time. Krishna was manifested on earth 125 years. Of first few years, I think 16 years he spent in Vrindavan, but after that, all of his time was away from Vrindavan, and significant chunk of his life was spent with Pandavas, and all the time he was with Pandavas. So it's important to understand that Pandavas were not ordinary people. They were, each of them were Nitya Siddhas, and Parikshit Maharaj was born in that family. So Prabhupada is stressing that he was not an ordinary person, he was a Mahabhagavat himself. And Parikshit Maharaj basically already in his childhood had learned about Krishna's pastime in Vrindavan. He used to observe his father, his parents doing deity worship, and he would mimic that. So it is very auspicious for devotees to do deity worship, do devotional activities, and engage their children, because basically it gives them an opportunity to become great devotees of the Lord. Example of Mirabai is also given, who would from childhood, worship Krishna as her husband. So Prabhupada mentions that there is a symmetry in all these devotees, that they are all naturally inclined to the Krishna from their very childhood. So if you all have not been inclined to Krishna from your very childhood, I was not inclined to Krishna from my very childhood, so there is nothing to worry. If you were inclined to Krishna from your childhood, that is amazing. But if you were not, then there is still a way to reach Krishna, which is called sadhana siddha. There are three types of siddhas: sadhana siddha, nitya siddha, and kripa siddha. Sadhana siddha is one who follows the rules and regulations of devotional life and will eventually attain the love of Godhead. And Nitya Siddha is one who is already situated in constant thinking and remembrance of the Lord. So Parikshit Maharaj was one of them. He was already situated from his birth and from his previous birth in constantly remembering the Supreme Lord. And then there are Kripa Siddhas, who basically are devotional devotees who have became attained perfection because of pleasing pure devotees of the Lord. The pure devotees of the Lord are very pleased with their devotional service or something about them, and they bless them, and then they attain the siddhis. So this is what is mentioned, that there is no difference between. It's also important to understand, when Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, it is not the case that Parikshit Maharaj is acting as a disciple and Shukdev Goswami is acting as a master who is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. So there is a difference between the two. One is lower, one is higher. Yes, one is lower and one is higher, apparently to the human vision and to the human understanding, that one is a disciple, one is a master. But in reality, they both are pure devotees. Normally, when we attend discourses, neither the speaker is perfect, and oftentimes the listeners are also not perfect. So the result of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is not perfect. But to the extent the speaker is pure, and to the extent the hearers are practicing devotional life sincerely and seriously and not taking it casually, to that extent the effect of Srimad Bhagavatam will be felt. You can hear from any number of speakers, but the impact of Srimad Bhagavatam will not be felt till you practice devotional service sincerely and seriously in your own life. If you practice sincerely and seriously devotional service in your own life, then basically if you hear Srimad Bhagavatam mouth, from anyone's mouth, it will have a bigger impact on you, because you are connected to the Lord, and every time you hear about the Lord, it will have an impact. So here it is clearly mentioned that they both are pure devotees of the Lord, and there is no difference between the two in ultimate issue. So the conclusion is that everyone can become sadhana siddha, devotee of the Lord, simply by association of the pure devotees. So if you simply associate with pure devotees, like Parikshit Maharaj was associating with his uncles and father and everyone, and who are all pure devotees. Example is also given of Sri Narad Muni. Narad Muni in his previous life was a son of a maid servant, but through association with the Bhakti Vedantis, pure devotees of the Lord, he also became a very special, unique devotee of the Lord in the history of devotional service. So Narad Muni also is a great example of a pure devotee of the Lord, and he's one of the best saints we have got, and he attained his siddhi by association of the pure devotees. So here the stress is given of the association of the pure devotee of the Lord. If anyone has question, hold them. We will move on to the next verse, and then we will take questions. So moving to verse 16. वयासकिश्च भगवान् वासुदेव परायणः उरुगाय गुणोद्धार सतां श्यूर्हि समागमे. Vayasakhe, the son of Vyasdev, Cha, also Bhagwan, full in transcendental knowledge. Vasudev, Lord Krishna. Parayanaha, attached to. Urugaya, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who is glorified by the great philosophers. Guna Udhara, great qualities. Satam, of the devotees. Shihu, must have been. He, as a matter of fact. Samagame, by the presence of. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sukdev Goswami, the son of Vyasdev, was also full in transcendental knowledge. So now they have said Parikshit Maharaj was a pure devotee. Now they are saying Shukdev Goswami is also pure devotee. Shukdev Goswami, the son of Vyasdev, was also full in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudev. So there must have been discussion of Lord Krishna, who is glorified by the great philosophers and in the company of great devotees. Purport. The word satam is very important in this verse. Satam means the pure devotees who have no other desire than to serve the Lord. Only in association of such devotees are the transcendental glories of Lord Krishna properly discussed. It is said by the Lord that his topics are full of spiritual significance, and once one properly hears about him in association of the Satam, certainly one senses the great potency and so automatically attains to the devotional stage of life. As already described, Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of the Lord from his very birth, and so was Shukdev Goswami. Both of them were on the same level, although it appeared that Maharaj Parikshit was a great king accustomed to the royal facilities, whereas Shukdev Goswami was a typical renouncer of the world, so much so that he did not even put a cloth on his body. Superficially, Maharaj Parikshit and Shukdev Goswami might seem to be opposites, but basically they both were unalloyed, pure devotees of the Lord. When such devotees are assembled together, there can be no topics save discussions of the glories of the Lord or Bhakti Yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita also, when there were talks between the Lord and his devotee Arjun, there could not be any topic other than the Bhakti Yoga. However, the mundane scholars may speculate on it in their own ways. The use of the word cha after Vayasakhi suggests, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, that both Shukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit were of the same category, settled long before, although one was playing the part of the master, the other the disciple. Since Lord Krishna is the center of the topics, the word Vasudeva Parayana or the devotees of Vasudev suggest devotee of Lord Krishna, the common aim. Although there were many others who assembled at the place where Maharaj Parikshit was fasting, the natural conclusion is that there was no topic other than the glorification of Lord Krishna, because the principal speaker was Shukdev Goswami and the chief audience was Maharaj Parikshit. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, as it was spoken and heard by two principal devotees of the Lord, is only for glorification of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So, here we can see that both Shukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit, being the pure devotees of the Lord, when two pure devotees meet, the only conversation they do is about Krishna, glorifying Krishna. It's also very important that here word Vasudeva Parayana is used. This word Vasudeva Parayana, the word Parayana is not normally used. Madhvacharya, he basically the one of the chief acharyas of our sampradaya. When Parikshit Maharaj is speaking to him, I think in 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, after the story of Britrasur, or maybe the before the story of Britrasur actually. And oftentimes he heard Maharaj Parikshit listens from Shukdev Goswami that Britrasur was a pure devotee, and Parikshit Maharaj is very much inquisitive. How can a demon be a pure devotee? And so there, in reference, Prabhupada is quoting this verse from Madhvacharya, where Madhvacharya says that there are many devotees of Lord Krishna. Actually, there are unlimited devotees of the Lord Krishna, but the Parayana devotee of the Lord Krishna is extremely, extremely, extremely rare. Parayana devotee means a devotee who is completely surrendered everything to the Supreme Lord. So we all should ask ourselves this question: are we all Parayana devotees of the Lord? Demigods are all devotees of the Lord. The mention is that there are 7 million demigods and 3 million rishi munis. Sorry, 3 million demigods, 7 million rishi munis, and Madhvacharya says that all of these are devotees of Krishna, but actually none of them are Parayana devotees of Lord Krishna. Parayan means completely surrendered devotees of the Krishna. So here Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, these both are Parayana devotees who have surrendered their life and everything to the Supreme Lord. So when Parayana devotees of the Lord meet, their aim is common. They will discuss Krishna. They won't discuss Kemcho, what happened to my son. Of course, that is also fine. But in all conversations, if you meet someone who is practicing Krishna consciousness, he is a devotee of ISKCON, if you see them, Of course, tell them hi, ask them their good well-being, but also speak to them, ask them, what did you read today? Did you read Srimad Bhagavatam today? Did you read Bhagavad Gita? What did you read today? Can you tell me something about Krishna that you have read recently? So if you become source of their memory of Krishna, then Krishna will become your memory. Krishna will enter into you and you will enter into Krishna. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita. Devotees who are constantly thinking and speaking about me, I reside in them and they reside in me. In ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna says this again, that my devotees, ye daragara putrapta pranan vittam imam param hitvamam. How do I give up the association of my devotees who have given up their wife, wealth, children, house, and everything? So Krishna uses this verse for Ambrish Maharaj, who actually had not given up everything. He had not given up his wife physically. He had not given up his children, house. He was actually a king. But this verse is used for Ambrish Maharaj. So internally, Ambrish Maharaj, like Parikshit Maharaj, was a great king, but he was unalloyed devotee of the Supreme Lord. So in his life, whatever he had offered it to the Supreme Lord completely, whether it was his wife, children, house, people, resources, money, everything. So Krishna is using this verse for Ambrish Maharaj, and he's saying that such devotees, how are you asking me, Durvas Muni, to give up such dear devotees of me who have given up everything for me? So Krishna basically goes into their heart and recites them. Sadhavo hridayam mayam, sadhunam hridayam tu aham. That sadhus, they are constantly in my heart, and I am in the heart of the sadhus. And sadhus don't know anything but me. And let me tell you that I also don't know anything but sadhus. This is what Krishna is saying from his own mouth in the pastime of Amrish Maharaj. So such devotees are Shukdev Goswami and Jiva Goswami, sorry, Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. And when they meet, they discuss the topics of Krishna only. That's the main aim. And therefore, we should also understand that when we meet devotees, Krishna should be our main aim. Yes, friendship is our aim. Yes, care and well-being is one our aim, but all of that is only settled when we have Krishna in the middle. Krishna is the main topic of our discussion. Now, I also quickly wanted to mention that Parikshit Maharaj, you know, when in the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when the whole pastime of Prahlad Maharaj and Narsingadev finishes, then at that time, Parikshit Maharaj is thinking, wow, wow, Prahlad Maharaj was such an amazing devotee that the Lord appeared for him, just for him. The Lord appeared directly. And so there, one of the verses is told by Narad Muni, and Narad Muni says these to Parikshit Maharaj. He says, Yuyam naraloke batabhuri bhaga lokam punana munayo abhiyanti ye samgrihan avistati shakshad gudham param brahma manushya lingam. So therefore, Narad Muni is telling Parikshit Maharaj, who was awed by seeing Narsingadev, the Supreme Lord, come for the rescue of Prahlad Maharaj. Narad Muni says, my dear Maharaj Yudhishthir, all of you, the Pandavas, are extremely fortunate. For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, lives in your palace just like a human being. Great saintly persons know this very well, and therefore they constantly visit your house. So all the saintly persons, they were visiting Yudhishthir Maharaj, all the time, every day, because they knew that the Supreme Lord is residing with all the Pandavas. So he confirms that Krishna is the same person, the same Supreme Lord, and he, basically is blessing all the Pandavas by giving them their association. So Parikshit Maharaj, he is not an ordinary soul. Shukdev Goswami is not an ordinary soul. Their conversation, therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is not an ordinary conversation. And as previously established in previous chapter, if these two people are conversing about any topic they discuss in Srimad Bhagavatam, that topic is going to bring about transformation, a revolution in the heart of the reader. You will be forced to transform after reading them if you are reading them attentively. So with that, I will stop. I think I was told to speak half an hour. I've just gone a little bit over. My sincere apologies. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question. Prabhuji, can you share your screen?
Sure.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Vamsi, Dhari Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Sarvesh Prabhu.
Yes.
Thank you for a lovely class. Prabhu, just wanted to clarify, actually, Srila Prabhupada says regarding Narad Muni in the translation and purport of 7.10.13 that Narad Muni is not only a sadhana siddha, but he's also a nitya siddha because he never forgets the Supreme. And previously he was obviously a Gandharva as well, so he already had blessings coming down. So he's not just a sadhana siddha, he's also a nitya siddha according to Srila Prabhupada. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Yes,
Prabhu.
you are right. Thank you. Nice to hear your voice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhamsidas Prabhu. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna,
Please
Mataji.
accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is the first time I'm hearing you, and what I like about the way you deliver the lecture, that you have a lot of conviction about the whole devotional service, and the way he spoke, it's really changes the heart. I think that's the importance of a speaker. That's why Shikadev Goswami and speaking and Parikit Mat listening. So the both of the same quality. That's why the whole Bhagavatam is for us so purifying book. And so if we keep on, devote ourselves to hearing and listening, hearing and reading, and also from Srila Prabhupada, I feel we are very fortunate that way. So one day it will help us to become, a pure devotee. So that's what I pray. And I really liked the way you spoke. You got a lot of conviction, and it's really purifying. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mataji. I offer your kind words to Srila Prabhupada because actually his books are amazing. His
Yes.
purports are amazing. And if someone finds time to read them and reread them and repeat them again and discuss with about the other devotees, then they will find that Prabhupada has actually put everything, even
Yes.
his blood, in Srimad Bhagavatam. And you can see that when he is writing purports. In one purport in 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse which comes about Prahlad Maharaj that no one's interested to go in cities. Prahlad Maharaj says this, that no one's interested to go in cities to Narsinghadev, and everyone, wants to be Mona, and they want to be in the Himalayas, and they just want to, actually everyone wants to focus on their own spiritual life. So this verse comes in verse 42 of some chapter of the 7th canto, but Prabhupada is saying in 10 verses before, Prabhupada is saying already in the purport that Prahlad Maharaj has already said this. So Prabhupada, when he was writing these purports, he had entire Shastra in his head. He had whole parampara in his head. He could quote left, right, and center. So, and as he's writing, he's already seeing those pastimes. So we are extremely fortunate actually to be able to discuss, as mentioned in this very purport that we're reading, that Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami, although one was a disciple, one was a master, they both were pure devotees. So when pure devotees meet, they like to listen from each other. Like Shailesh Prabhu just now, mentioned, Narad Muni is not just a sadhana siddha, he's a nitya siddha. And so, we love this. We love to hear it. We love to hear from everyone. And when devotees come with each other and discuss about Krishna, then all the problems between devotees also go away. You have fight with someone, there are issues with someone, they are both practicing devotees, you can't gel with each other. Okay, no problem. Discuss Krishna with each other, speak Krishna with each other. That person who is fighting with you, or you, the person who is fighting with them, you both will sit down together, you both will be each other's friend in Krishna consciousness. And after that, you can have different views too, no problem.
That's nice. What I also feel, hearing Srila Prabhupada, any chance we get, because he's such a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada is beyond description. I think, our senses are not so pure, our heart is not pure. But if we keep on hearing Srila Prabhupada's lecture, That's really purifying. And more we hear, more we can understand Srila Prabhupada. Because initially our senses, as I said, my senses are not purified at all. So, but if I keep on hearing Srila Prabhupada, I feel, there's a change in the heart. And there's a change, what I feel, I want to hear more and more of Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes you hear, and then next time you hear, you get clear understanding than what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Because of my, impurity, I cannot maybe understand at the beginning, but more I hear, more I understand what Srila Prabhupada is really saying, and it changes the heart. So I feel, and that's why I've got this box with 1,000 lecture of Srila Prabhupada. I would listen early in the morning. I would listen in the evening. Whenever I had the opportunity, I would listen, and I want my heart to be pure to the knowledge
You are
of
already in a
Bhagavatam.
transcendental state, Mataji. If you're listening so much, I pray to you, please bless me so that I can also listen and I can read.
What I heard you really understood, the whole lecture so nicely, and you have explained to us so nicely, and we are very fortunate to have you in our group. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we have 4 more minutes. Okay, if there are no questions, then I beg your forgiveness. If I've said something out of context, please forgive me, and please accept my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class.
Thank you, Mataji.
Please come back. Don't stay away, please.
Sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you so much,
Hare
Prabhuji, for coming and
Krishna.
giving us a wonderful
Thank you.
class. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranams.
Dandavat.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.